We're now going to have a panel discussion with three of the key players involved in this. We've got Ciara Ferguson, who was from the social pillar, Gavin, Killeen from the economic pillar, and Paul McNaught from DSD, who was on the environmental pillar. Ciara, I'm going to start with you, if I may. You chaired the community development thematic group, and I can remember from my past in community development, it can be messy and tricky. What was your experience as chair?
I think quite similar to our co-chairs there on the video, a really positive experience. I think at the start people thought it would be daunting. However, to be honest, it was really, really good. The energy was great within the room. I think even the representation across the district, both urban and rural, across the statutory agencies, the community sector, and even local residents that engaged in with a really good, strong participation. We thought even the participation might dip come the second, third workshop, but it very much stayed up there. 50 or 60 people were taking time out and engaging and getting involved. So really, really good.
Great. You've got the mic just as you finished, so I better give you another question. So what were your biggest challenges, do you think?
Challenges. I think to be... I'll hold it up. And to be honest, it doesn't sound great, but there wasn't really any challenges, because you know why? Because we were well prepared for each meeting. And, we had our guidance book at the start. We knew exactly what we had to do. The staff were fantastic, I have to say, within council. We were meeting in between meetings and making sure we were well planned. We had the resources, we had the toolkits, we had the information. And I think, and as many members as possible that participated received that information. So they were kind of geared up before they came to the meetings. So to be honest, in my experience as chair and in other chairs, this was quite an easy experience.
Great.
I'm sorry, I have nothing negative.
That's
no
great.
Real challenges.
Gavin, you chaired the Education and Skills working group, and I see you came up with 4 strategic outcomes. Yeah. Was there consensus about the priorities within that?
Well, first of all, we considered the strengths that we have as a region, and it came across very strongly the fact that we have a university, we have the North West Regional College, and a number of schools in the region that perform really, really well, not only just within a Northern Ireland context, but within the whole of the United Kingdom. And we have a number of really strong local Indigenous companies that trade on a global basis, and obviously they employ Derry people and Strabane people who do a really, really good job. But the outcomes for some of our younger people are not less and not as fortunate. We have a high percentage of our young people that don't achieve 5 GCSEs, including maths and English. We have a number of young people who leave school with no qualifications whatsoever. And then we have a high proportion of the population in the Northwest who don't have any qualifications at all. And that's a challenge, So we developed the 4 strategies that John alluded to earlier on, and they sort of cover, raising attainment and aspiration, making sure that we improve the levels of attainment at both primary and post-primary school, and we create a desire for lifelong learning, establishing and enabling employment and participation, providing routes for people to move into work and to progress through those jobs, providing an opportunity for people, better labour market opportunities, simplified employment and skills system, and assisting individuals to get into work and then sustain that job once they get in there. Then the skills to compete. We'll have a better skilled workforce, better educated, more flexible, and able to stimulate productivity and improve our competitiveness in the Northwest. And then higher education, the expansion of higher education and FE, allowing wider opening access and wider access for all members of the population, resulting in enhanced labour supply.
Right. Now, Paul, we talk these days about evidence-based policy making, and you were chairing the Environmental and Physical Regeneration group. So how important was the information and the evidence behind it in the work that you did?
Quentin, when you're doing an action plan, obviously it's essential that you get a good range of detailed information in order to identify what the needs are in the area. And it was the same for our group, and we, at the first workshop, we had this community plan resource support pack, which took us a while to go through, to be honest, but we did our best, and at the first workshop we identified what we thought were a number of gaps in the evidence that we needed. It transpired some were actually just maybe in other sections that we hadn't had time to look at, but we went off then and tried to identify the gaps, and I think that's where our biggest obstacle was, is that there just wasn't the information in some of the areas we wanted out there. There would be maybe some bits and pieces we would have liked some mapping of green areas, for example, some more detailed stats on water and air quality. There was some, but there wasn't maybe the range we wanted. However, we sourced some more additional information from the housing executive. We got some great housing information. Council provided some recycling and play park statistics. The City Centre Initiative provided city centre vacancy rates, and I was able to pull together some deprivation and public realm information. We also then had the Derry City and Strabane District Council Citizen Survey, and that was full of information on people's satisfaction with amenities, concern over some of the environmental issues. So then when we got all that information, we pulled it together and we sat and analysed and we were able to identify the needs. I think when you go into a process such as this, you have some maybe preconceptions, and I think that our group was the same about what maybe the issues were. And I have to say, in a lot of the cases, the baseline information supported that. There were some areas where we'd have thought that there wasn't an issue, transpired there were. For example, in the greenways, we thought that the region was well served and there would be high quality. When we looked at the citizen survey, we found that the majority of people only thought they were fair at best, and about 7% of people use them regularly to cycle. So there was an area that when we got down to doing the action, we thought we better put an action in for more greenways. So once we had all the baseline information, we were able to identify the areas that we wanted to concentrate on. I have to say, some of the actions were just basically, we need to do a bit more research and get some more baseline information in order to form longer term objectives.
Great. Ciara, if I can come back to you, the next step involves the creation of 8 local community planning groups. Does that fill you with dread or excitement?
Excitement. Obviously, my field, day to day, and a lot of our colleagues here, and working at a community level, grassroots level, and working in the community. And I suppose it's really, it's about listening to our local people and what they say. And there is a lot of differences and a lot of different needs across neighbourhoods, across communities, across wards, etc. So, to be honest, it's another opportunity again that we can look at our grassroots level and engage our local people. I think it's a good wee quote, if we keep talking, we're only repeating what we already know. But if we start listening, that's when we're learning, and it's about listening nearly every day to obviously our local people and our local communities. I think the process we've been engaged to date has been great because we've all become more informed across the district of what's happening, what the needs are. I wasn't familiar, I live in the town of Strabane, I work in the city, but I wasn't familiar with needs in Castledare, in Newton Stewart and Donaghmana, etc. So that helped me to widen my horizons and looking across the district and not just about where I work and where I live, which was great. But I think now, even getting closer down into our local communities, we can very much see what additional needs are required for our local residents to help improve their quality of life. Is it community facilities, is it greenways, where should them greenways be? Is it arts and culture activities, where is the gaps? And I think that will be a unique opportunity now to obviously support and obviously have synergy with our local community and our strategic plan. So really looking forward to that, yeah.
Great. Gavin, you've been involved in education and skills for a while, but we're constantly searching for innovation and new ways of tackling it. Were there any innovatory ideas coming up, any surprises from where you sat?
No, there wasn't really any surprises. And like everyone in this room would have been involved in the creation of the One Plan, and within the One Plan there was 11 catalyst programmes, of which skills and education was one of them, and really skills and education underpinned all the other 10 catalyst programmes, and it's a critical foundation for any region for it to be successful. So look, we stay through the One Plan. The Skills Directorate was set up in 2011, which I chaired. It later became the Education and Skills Implementation Group, and within that we developed our first Skills Action Plan in 2011 based on the Northern Ireland Skills Strategy. And we looked at tackling worklessness, building workforce capacity, developing management leadership skills, and and helping young people. And within that, we realised that it's critically important that employers have to be involved in this arena. And so we created 3 subgroups that looked at travel and tourism, which at the time, whenever we were coming up to the City of Culture year, was critically important, and how the city got behind that with the world host. venture that we did. We then had two other groups, one around IT and one around employers, or one around the engineering subgroup as well. So we brought an awful lot of employers to the table with the schools, with the college, with the university, and we were able to develop a number of strategies. So a lot of the things that we as a group have been working on for the last 4 years, it was the same sort of things were coming up again and the same challenges. But the critical thing is that as we move forward, it needs to be well resourced. We need to ensure that the resource is there to continue the momentum that we've already generated as we move forward.
Great. Paul, the bell is tolling for the end of the panel, so can you wrap us up with some ideas, hopes for the future? How do you think it'll go from where you sit?
Well, I think the main thing is anybody that's been involved in developing action plans in the past, I'm sure we've all had the same experience where you spend a lot of time and effort actually developing the plan up and then it sits gathering dust on the shelf. The community plan can't be like that. It has to be the basis on how we move forward in the city or in the region. It cannot be business as usual. We need to change the way we do things. There's already good partnerships between the community, private and public sector in the region, and we need to build upon that and make it more effective. We are in a time of limited resources and we have to make the best use of those resources. Another thing is obviously the local community plans, so these need to be meaningful. I think if the ordinary resident looks at the community plan as we have it today, it may be difficult for them to see how the high level actions are going to have a direct impact on them, on their daily lives. So we need to ensure that the local community plan feeds down to the communities. They need to be based on tackling inequality and need. The region is got one of the highest unemployment rates. It's one of the most deprived places in these islands. We need to change that, and the community plan should be a good basis. I also think we've gone through this process now for the community plan. I think we should evaluate it and learn lessons from how it has worked and where we can improve things from when we're developing the local community plans. And then finally, we need to ensure full representation as we move forward. I think in our working group, I was a bit concerned that we maybe didn't have the full representation from Strabane and rural areas. It's not necessarily shared maybe across so many other groups, but this plan's for the whole region, and it's important that we get buy-in from everyone.
Great. I'd like to thank Gavin, Paul and Ciara for that. It's brought it to life and it's given us a lot of food for thought. Good luck with it.